what are some of the advantages of alley cropping, right? Okay, so diversifying income, diversification of income, that's one of the big advantages. Remember I said that, you plant these species of fruit trees right here. It's going to take 2 to 3 years. If you plant, he's planting, fairly mature trees, but a lot of folks start with 3-year-old trees. I would say a more realistic time frame for getting a yield back from your trees would probably be 5 years from planting. I mean, you might get something earlier than that, but generally to get what you're going to be considered, especially a yield that you might be able to either share with other people or to sell, you should plan on 5 years. Okay. Yes.
Is it even good? Because I've heard people say they don't even use the first.
They don't do what?
Anything that comes up first, like a first yield from the tree.
Yeah, I mean, there's a strategy of when you're first getting them established, that you would actually take the flowers off, because you don't want it to produce. You want the tree to put its energy into growing those root system, especially. So that's why Deron was telling you guys one of the strategies, and we're gonna talk about pruning. Deron's talking about it, and I'll spend some time on it too. But taking off that central leader, because that's what the tree wants to do. It wants to put its energy into growing tall, and if you let that central leader grow, right, that thing is gonna get huge. Okay, and so one of the things that you should remember as well is that you control that. Okay, like especially in urban agriculture. Okay, you don't. Generally, in urban agriculture, and I'm stereotyping, I think Deron can jump in if he wants to, but generally in urban agriculture, you don't want tall fruit trees. I mean, you can have that, but generally you don't want that. Me personally, I don't want a tree to get over 12 feet. I want to minimize, and I still have to get on the step ladder to get that, but I ain't got to get on the ladder. Okay. You minimizing the risk of climbing on the ladder, and then just convenience, just convenience. You don't want. I don't want a tall tree at my place. And then you have to be concerned with things like power lines and encroaching on neighbor's property, right? So all those things are factors in your management strategy. Harvest timing, you should know. You should know. When you plan this out, when you put this on paper, and everything should be on paper before you go out there and actually start doing it, right? That's what I'm talking about with my internship, right? Okay, when you put this on paper, you should know one of the things that you put in there as a note is when are you expecting to get a yield out of this entire system? Okay, not just that. Annuals, when you're going to get a yield, right? You plant a corn. 120 to 90 days, you're gonna get an ear of corn, right? But when are you expecting to get a yield out of these trees? Okay, is it 20 years? Are you growing it for wood, or you gonna sell the wood at some point? So is it 20 years? Is it 5 years? Okay, know approximately when you're gonna get a yield out of your particular crop that you're growing. The crop market, okay, again, market dictates everything in terms of business, right? Okay, so don't just plant a bunch of stuff because you like it, especially if you're doing it to make money. You got to find out if there's a market for the product that you're producing, right? And then some of the things like that you can grow in the forest system, they may be exotic to the market. People don't know what it is, so you got to do some education, right?
Somebody gave me rant butter. I was like, somebody gave me rant butter. I was like,
what the hell is a ramp? People don't know what a ramp is. I'm not eating that. Don't look right. It looks like a funny looking onion. I'm not eating that. Okay, but so you gotta know what exactly your market wants, right? You go to an area. If you start to say I'm gonna produce shiitake mushroom, there's some areas of Richmond that you may not want to try to sell shiitake mushrooms. I like shiitake mushrooms, but there's some people that they just never had them. Not that they don't like them. And some people are scared to try new things. So it may take a few years before you can educate them and say, "Oh man, this is good. I'm going to give me some of those shiitake mushrooms, right?" So know that going in. Don't assume anything. Okay, equipment use. Okay, if you're going to do alley cropping on a large scale, you are going to probably have to have some equipment, right? Especially if you start talking about doing things like row crops. This is supposed to be corn. Yes.
And as far as trees, I don't know. are trees when we plant them? Are we planting them and walking away? I mean, there's no maintenance. Like walk. Can you? I don't have a clue. Like how a tree grows.
Again, that could be your strategy. That's a strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some permaculturists, some hardcore permaculturists that will say that's what you're supposed to do. You're basically supposed to plant it and just walk away. I mean, if you set the system up, you know, you give the trees what they want, succession is going to happen.
Right.
Okay? You know, it's just like compost, right? Even if you don't do compost exactly right, you get the ratios, carbon and nitrogen ratios exactly right, it's still going to happen, right?
Right.
Now, we're composting as I'm talking. I'm composting. All right? But, so it's going to happen, right? It just is what you want. If you want this, you want production out of it,
That's what I mean.
then you got to manage it. Yeah, Duran can walk away from his orchard. You don't have to do anything to it. But if he wants to get good production out of it, you better manage it.
I want to come in and prune.